Welcome to Zoe Stories. Mom said it was just herbal tea. Now I shave my legs and cry at commercials. If you'd told me 6 months ago that a simple cup of tea would change my life, I'd have laughed. Hard. I mean, come on, tea? Not some magic potion or government experiment. Not even a prank from one of my friends. Just something my mom brewed in the kitchen with herbs from the local wellness store. But here I am, sitting on my bed in a pale pink camisole and matching pajama shorts, legs crossed daintily, freshly shaved, trying not to cry during a shampoo commercial. It's not just the clothes or the emotions, it's everything. The way I move, the way I talk, the way I feel. And it all started with that cup of tea. I was back home for the summer after finishing my second year at college. I didn't have a job lined up, and internships had all filled up months before I thought to apply. My mom, ever the wellness freak, offered to let me stay rent-free if I helped around the house and stuck to her new, natural detox plan. That sounded easy enough. I figured it was just her way of getting me to eat fewer chips and more kale. If I'd known what was really in that tea, if anyone had told me, well, I'd probably still have drunk it. Because back then, I didn't take anything seriously. "You're looking tired again, sweetheart," she said one morning, sliding a steaming mug across the kitchen table. "This blend's going to help with that mood of yours." I rolled my eyes, but took a sip. Floral. Faintly sweet. Harmless. "It's just tea," she added with a smile. "You'll thank me later." That first week, nothing dramatic happened. I slept better. Woke up feeling lighter, more clear-headed. My skin even looked healthier in the mirror, but I chalked that up to the cleaner food she was making me eat. The second week, weird things started to happen. I was getting emotional at the dumbest things. I remember watching a video where a kitten got reunited with its owner after 2 years, and I sobbed. Like, full on, tears streaming down my face, tissues piled up sobbing. My voice started sounding softer. Higher? Or maybe I was imagining it. My dreams became strange. Long, vivid ones where I wasn't just a different person, I was a different girl. The clothes felt real. The voices felt real. Sometimes I'd wake up in a panic, checking my chest, my face, my hands. But everything was normal. Almost. By week 3, I noticed my morning routine shifting. I started moisturizing. Not because anyone told me to, but because dry skin bothered me now. I even plucked my eyebrows one day out of boredom. Mom didn't say a word. She just smiled and made me more tea. "Your energy feels lighter," she said casually. "You're finally letting go." "Letting go of what?" I asked. She just sipped her own tea and winked. It wasn't until week 4 that I found the label on the jar she'd been scooping from. I remember it vividly, because my hands trembled when I read the ingredients. Some of the herbs I recognized, but others not so much. One in particular stuck out. Estroflora vitalis, a rare herbal compound used in ancient rituals to help balance divine feminine energy. "What the hell is this?" I asked, holding up the jar. Mom barely looked up from her book. "It's just an adaptogen. Completely natural. But this says it stimulates feminine energy." She finally looked up then. "And? What's wrong with that?" I opened my mouth to protest, but couldn't find the words. What was wrong with it? I wasn't sick. I didn't feel bad. But something deep inside me buzzed. Panic, maybe. Or excitement. Or both. "I thought you said this was just a detox." She smiled that same knowing smile. "It is. You're detoxing from expectations." I stopped drinking the tea after that. For a few days, anyway. But my body had missed it. I'd wake up craving it. I couldn't focus. I got headaches, brain fog, weird aches in my chest and thighs. So I went back. And that's when the changes really took hold. By the end of the 5th week, I couldn't wear my old jeans anymore. Not because they didn't fit, but because they didn't feel right. The fabric felt rough, stiff. I preferred soft things, leggings, stretchy shorts, loose shirts that hung delicately. I caught myself practicing walking differently when no one was around. Slower. Smoother. More deliberate. I started shaving not just my face, but my arms. My chest. My legs. And every time I looked in the mirror, I saw less of the guy I used to be and more of someone else. Someone softer, gentler, happier. That brings me to now. Sitting here in my room, commercial playing on the TV, tears threatening to spill. It's been nearly 2 months since the first cup of that tea, and my mom still hasn't told me everything. But I can feel it in my bones. Something bigger is happening. Something I don't understand yet. And whether I like it or not, I don't think I can stop it. It had only been 3 days since Mom's new routine began, but something already felt different. I woke up that morning unusually groggy, my limbs heavy and skin almost sensitive. It was subtle. Too subtle to call out loud, but enough to leave me unsettled. My reflection looked normal, but my eyes lingered longer than usual. Had my face softened slightly? Was it just in my head? I shook it off. I was overthinking. Downstairs, the smell of peppermint and chamomile filled the kitchen. "Good morning, sweetheart," Mom chimed as she placed my now regular cup of her relaxing tea in front of me. Her tone was too cheerful, like she already knew something I didn't. "Morning," I mumbled. I looked at the tea, then at her. "What's in this again?" "Oh, just a blend of herbs, calming, detoxifying. You've been sleeping better, haven't you?" She said it like a statement, not a question. I nodded, reluctantly. "Yeah, I guess." "And no more outbursts? I haven't heard you raise your voice in days." She smiled as if my silence was proof of something good. I froze, slightly confused. She was right. Normally, we'd have at least one shouting match over something petty by now. But I'd been mellow, unbothered. Still, it didn't sit right. After breakfast, I threw on a hoodie and jeans to head out to meet Emma. But halfway through pulling up my pants, I stopped. My legs, it felt like the fabric was irritating them, like the hairs were too coarse, too present. I couldn't believe I was actually annoyed by the feel of leg hair. What guy thinks like that? Before I left, I impulsively Googled herbal tea that causes emotional changes, natural estrogen and herbs, peppermint tea and hormones. The search results didn't ease my mind. Herbs like spearmint and fennel came up, linked to lower testosterone. I felt a chill run down my spine. That afternoon at Emma's, things felt different. She noticed. "Are you okay? You're quieter than usual," she asked, tilting her head with concern. "I'm fine, just tired," I replied, rubbing my temples. "Weird dreams lately." She smiled sympathetically. "Still drinking your mom's herbal blend?" I hesitated. "Yeah, every morning." Her expression changed, just slightly. I caught it. "What?" "Nothing, just, she's kind of obsessed with wellness stuff. Supplements, essential oils, all that." "She's always been," I replied. Emma stood up and walked over to her bookshelf. She pulled out a book on holistic health. "Some of that stuff can actually impact your body chemistry, especially if you drink it consistently." "Did she ever tell you what herb she's using?" I shook my head. She just said it was to help with my moods. Emma frowned. "Be careful. A few of these herbs mimic estrogen." That night, I went into the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror again. I removed my hoodie and shirt. My skin looked clearer, smoother. I brushed a hand down my arm, surprised at the way it felt under my fingertips. Was I imagining this? My nipples had been unusually sensitive too. Again, subtle, barely noticeable, but it was there. And, emotionally, I cried watching a dog video earlier. A freaking dog video. I wasn't scared. Not yet. Just confused. But deep down, something told me this wasn't random. The next morning, I didn't drink the tea. I poured it down the sink the second Mom left the kitchen. Then I sat back down at the table, pretending I'd sipped it as usual. She returned, looked at my cup, then at me. "Didn't drink it all?" I shrugged. Wasn't that thirsty. She didn't press further. But something shifted in her eyes. Almost calculated. Later, I confronted her casually. "Hey, what exactly is in that tea?" She laughed.
"Why?
"You worried I'm drugging you?" "I'm serious." "Oh, honey," she said, voice soft but cold. "You've been so much calmer, so much more pleasant. Isn't that better? That phrasing froze me. You didn't answer the question. She simply smiled, patted my shoulder, and walked away. That night, I felt the urge to shave. It was the strangest thing, an actual impulse. I stood in the shower staring at my legs for 5 minutes before finally caving in. Just once, I told myself. Just to see. The sensation afterward was addicting. My jeans slid on smoothly. I felt cleaner, lighter. My skin tingled. I tried to convince myself it was curiosity, but I knew it was more than that. I didn't tell Emma. Not yet. Not until I knew what was going on for sure. But as I curled into bed, I caught myself hugging a pillow the way I never had before, tight to my chest, like a comfort object. And when I watched a rerun of a rom-com, I cried. Again. Something was changing, and I wasn't sure I wanted it to stop. It started with small things. I'd always been pretty indifferent to grooming, showers, deodorant, shaving now and then, but suddenly, I couldn't stand the sight of stubble on my legs. At first, I told myself it was just about cleanliness. Then it was aerodynamics for jogging. But I hadn't jogged in 2 years. Still, the thought of hair made me queasy. So I shaved. Then it was my nails. I bit them nervously during class, and Emma noticed. One afternoon, she handed me a nail file and a tiny bottle of clear polish. Just try it, she said gently, watching me from her beanbag in the living room. You'll feel more in control. I laughed nervously. Is this part of your plan to turn me into a metrosexual? Nope, she winked. Just helping you look like you actually care about yourself for once. That night, I stared at my shiny nails longer than I wanted to admit. And it felt good. Pretty even. My emotions had always been distant passengers, muffled, numbed, subdued. But lately they were closer to the wheel. Commercials made me tear up. I cried watching a dog reunited with a soldier. I cried reading a sappy text Emma sent. I cried when I ran out of my favorite tea. What was wrong with me? I asked Emma one night, my voice cracking with embarrassment. Is it just stress? Because I can't stop crying lately. Over nothing. She sat beside me, resting a hand on my knee. It's not nothing, she said softly. You've been holding things in for a long time. The tea, it's just helping you feel more. Maybe it's allowing the real you to breathe. What does that mean? I asked, tense. Emma just smiled faintly and kissed my temple. It means you're healing. But it didn't feel like healing. It felt like drowning. The wardrobe changes weren't even suggested by her. They came from me. It started with that long, flowing pink hoodie I found in the laundry. Hers. Oversized. Soft as a cloud. I slipped it on while waiting for the dryer to finish. I never took it off that night. It made me feel safe, delicate, almost invisible, in a good way. Then I accidentally wore one of her stretchy tank tops to bed. It clung to me in strange ways. I knew I should feel ashamed, but I didn't. I felt warm. Right. Emma noticed. She didn't comment, not directly. But the next day, she left a folded set of pastel loungewear on my bed. A tank. Leggings. Even fluffy pink socks. I stared at them like they were radioactive. And yet I put them on. Slowly. Carefully. When I walked into the living room that evening, Emma looked up from her book. You look comfortable, she said, her eyes twinkling. I'm not keeping these, I muttered. I didn't say you had to. I sank into the couch beside her, pulling the soft blanket over my legs. But I didn't take them off. One evening, I found myself staring into the mirror after a shower. Towel around my waist, clean-shaven legs catching the light, lips slightly parted. My hair had grown longer lately, Emma said she liked it that way. So I hadn't cut it. I pushed it behind my ears. My cheeks were softer. Fuller. Would it be that weird if I tried mascara? I whispered to no one. Just to see, I told myself. Just to understand what the big deal was. Emma had a drawer full of makeup in the bathroom. I tiptoed toward it, hands shaking like I was about to commit a crime. Mascara first. A little blush. A dab of tinted lip gloss. When I looked back into the mirror, I saw someone else. Someone softer. Someone I might have once teased. My throat tightened. but I couldn't stop looking. Later that night, I sat cross-legged on the couch in one of Emma's t-shirts and a pair of her lounge shorts, sipping my tea. Emma walked in, noticed the faint shimmer on my cheeks, and sat beside me without a word. "You didn't say anything," I murmured.
"About what?"
"This." I gestured at my face, my clothes, my body that now felt like a contradiction. Emma tilted her head. "Do you want me to?" I swallowed. "I don't know." She gently placed her hand over mine. "Then I'll just say this. You're still you. But if part of you has been hiding, I'm glad she's peeking out." I stood frozen in front of the full-length mirror in Emma's room. The reflection staring back at me wasn't just a fluke or the product of some silly prank. It was me, softer, smoother, more delicate, with subtle curves that hadn't been there weeks ago. The girl in the mirror looked timid and confused, wearing Emma's pale pink crop top and high-waisted shorts, and I realized with a sinking feeling, I didn't look like a guy cross-dressing anymore. I looked like a girl pretending she used to be a guy. Emma leaned against the doorframe with a satisfied grin, arms crossed. "Told you those shorts would fit better now." My voice cracked. Why are they fitting better? Why does my skin feel like silk? Why do I feel cold all the time, Emma? She tilted her head slightly, amused but gentle. "You're noticing the changes, huh?" I turned to her sharply. "What's happening to me?" Emma walked over and placed a hand on my shoulder. "You've been evolving." "Because of the tea?" She nodded. "And the lotions and the diet smoothies and the vitamin patches I gave you for energy. All natural, I promise. But with very specific side effects." "You drugged me." "No," she said quickly. "I didn't drug you. I helped you. Look at yourself. You're healthier.
Calmer.
You've stopped biting your nails. Your anxiety's lower, and—" "My body is changing," I interrupted, voice trembling. "I cried at a toothpaste commercial yesterday, Emma. I had a dream where I was picking out nail polish for our spa day. This isn't healthy. It's a transformation." Emma bit her lip. "You're right, but I need you to hear me out." I took a step back. "This was never about me, was it?" Emma looked genuinely hurt.
"It was."
"You were spiraling. You hated your job, your life, yourself. You told me once you felt like you didn't belong anywhere. I wanted to give you a reset. And yes, I pushed it too far." The silence between us stretched. I looked back at the mirror. My jawline had softened, and my arms looked thinner, less defined, almost dainty. Even my walk had started to shift. I caught myself swaying slightly without meaning to. I whispered, "I don't even remember what I sounded like before." Emma came beside me and gently touched my cheek. "You sound like you, just a better version." I didn't know whether to scream or cry. The next few days blurred. I stopped drinking the tea, ignored the smoothies, and refused the patches. Emma gave me space, but I saw her eyes watch me with concern every time we crossed paths in the apartment. But the worst part wasn't her quiet pity. It was realizing that part of me missed the routine. The calm mornings, the long showers, the skincare, the way Emma would braid my hair after yoga even if it wasn't long enough yet. My reflection had become a stranger, but a stranger I somehow felt safer around. I tried wearing one of my old hoodies. It hung off me like a blanket. I tried eating junk food and staying up all night gaming, but I ended up painting my nails instead because it made me feel put together. I hated how natural it had become. How much I caught myself smiling in the mirror. How I checked for stubble every morning and was disappointed when there was none. A week later, I sat at the kitchen table with Emma. I hadn't said much. I'd barely slept. She placed a small box in front of me. I looked at it cautiously. "What is it now? More herbs? Fake vitamins?" She shook her head. "No tricks. Just the truth." Inside the box was a flash drive. And a printed letter. It was from my mom. Emma looked nervous. She asked me to hold on to it, in case things reached this point. I opened the letter first. "My sweet child. I know this will be a shock, but I've always known you struggled with who you are, even when you couldn't put it into words. Emma told me how you were doing, and I agreed to support her plan, on one condition. She had to let you choose once you saw the results. I hope you understand this came from love, not manipulation. If you truly want to go back to the old you, you can. The supplements can be reversed. But if you feel even a glimmer of truth in this new self, then I hope you'll embrace it. Not for me. Not for Emma. For you.
Mom.
I didn't even realize I was crying until Emma reached across the table and brushed away a tear. I didn't pull back. You talked to my mom? She reached out, actually. Said she always thought you were trying to act like someone else's son. Emma paused. She loves you, you know. No matter what. I sat back in silence.
The tea.
The pills. The clothes. The routines. My own mother had been part of this silent conspiracy. And yet it didn't feel cruel. It felt like they had been waiting for me to wake up. Later that night, I stood in front of the mirror again. The same girl looked back, only this time. I didn't feel like screaming. I tried on a soft blue dress Emma had bought weeks ago. I never dared to touch it, but now it hugged my body like it belonged there. My reflection smiled before I even told it to. I whispered, "Who are you?" And a quiet voice inside me answered, "I'm who you've always been." Emma stepped into the doorway behind me. She saw the dress, the way I held myself, the way I wasn't hiding anymore. I turned to her, tears in my eyes, but smiling. I think I like her. Emma's eyes welled up too. Then let her live. Waking up that morning, I instinctively reached down to pull my blanket tighter, only to feel the soft brush of smooth, bare legs against each other. I blinked, disoriented, then caught a glimpse of my reflection in the mirror across the room. My breath hitched. The girl in the reflection was me. Hair falling and soft, curled waves around my shoulders. Cheeks flushed naturally. Lashes long and curled. My figure had changed subtly but noticeably over the past week. Hips slightly fuller, waist narrower, chest showing the soft swell of budding curves under the silky nightshirt Emma had insisted I sleep in. And the scariest part? I didn't feel panicked. I felt calm. I brushed a finger against my cheek and whispered, "What's happening to me?" Emma was in the kitchen when I walked in. She turned and gave me that mischievous smile, the one I was starting to know far too well. "Morning, sweetie. Tea." I hesitated. "Emma, we need to talk." She poured a cup anyway. The scent hit me immediately, soft, floral, comforting.
And addictive.
My fingers reached for it before I even realized. "I'm not sure who I am anymore," I admitted. I catch myself thinking in her voice. Standing like she does. I shaved my legs this morning without even questioning it. Emma stepped closer. "And how did it feel?" I didn't answer, because deep down I already knew. That day, I stayed in the house, sitting cross-legged on the couch in a pair of Emma's soft leggings and a cropped sweatshirt. I absent-mindedly scrolled through Instagram, my feed, full of makeup tutorials, fashion hacks, and trans influencers. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just a game. Something was happening to my identity. Slowly, bit by bit, Emma had replaced the old me with someone softer, gentler. Someone who cried when her eyeliner looked perfect or when the right song played. Someone who blushed when a boy complimented her shoes. Someone who no longer imagined a way back. That night, when I looked in the mirror again, I saw a girl who had stopped fighting. And I whispered, maybe I've always been her. One evening, Emma surprised me with a gift, a dusty pink dress with lace trim and a ribbon belt. My first instinct was resistance, but the soft fabric between my fingers silenced it. "I want you to wear this for dinner," she said gently. "Just this once." I put it on, and when she zipped me up, I saw myself as she saw me, a picture of grace, femininity, and quiet power. Dinner passed in a dreamy blur. Her compliments, the candlelight, the way my posture changed naturally to match the dress, that all felt like a scene from someone else's life. But that someone else was me now. Later that night, I sat on the bed, brushing my hair out like Emma had shown me. She came in behind me, wrapped her arms around me, and said softly, "Do you know how proud I am of you?" I nodded slowly. "But I'm scared," I whispered. She met my gaze in the mirror. "You're becoming who you were always meant to be. It's okay to be afraid of that. But you're not alone." That night, for the first time, I didn't dream of escaping. I dreamed of belonging. The next morning started like a dream. I was wearing the pink robe Emma gave me, my hair pinned up in soft rollers, sipping my now usual herbal tea. Everything about my routine had changed, and somehow that comforted me. Until there was a knock at the door. Emma froze, glancing at the clock. "Stay here," she whispered, her tone sharp for the first time in days.
But curiosity got the better of me.
I peeked from behind the wall, and my heart dropped into my stomach. It was Jordan. Jordan from school. My best friend. The one who dared me to try on the bra in the first place. I panicked. My bare legs. My painted toes. The faint gloss on my lips. My pink robe. There was no way he couldn't recognize me. I tried to run, but it was too late. His eyes locked onto mine. "No way," he whispered. "Is that you?" I scrambled backward, heart pounding. "Jordan, wait, it's not what it looks like." But he stepped in, closing the door behind him. Emma stood there, frozen. "I told you he wasn't ready for this," she said quietly.
He.
Jordan echoed. "This isn't, dude, are you okay?"
I didn't know what to say.
I looked down at myself.
The robe.
The hair. The delicate scent of vanilla clinging to my skin. I wasn't just pretending anymore. I don't know who I am anymore, I confessed. But this feels real. And I don't know how to stop it. Jordan looked stunned. "This started as a dare." "I know. And now you're the girl?" Emma stepped between us protectively. "She doesn't need your judgment." But Jordan didn't say anything harsh. Instead, he just looked at me, really looked. "I mean, you look good," he said finally. "Really good. Better than I expected." My face flushed deep pink. After he left, Emma and I sat on the couch in silence. I hugged a pillow to my chest, feeling exposed, vulnerable. "He's going to tell everyone," I whispered. "Maybe," Emma said gently. "Or maybe he won't. Maybe he saw what I see." I looked at her. "What do you see?" "A girl," she said. "Someone brave, beautiful, and finally honest." Tears welled in my eyes. Even if I didn't mean for this to happen? She touched my cheek. Sometimes the best things happen by accident. That night, I didn't take the robe off. I curled up in bed and scrolled through my old photos, boyish, awkward, unsure. Then I looked at the ones Emma had taken over the week. Lipstick, dresses, hair bows.
Smiling.
There was no denying it anymore. The old me was gone. And I didn't miss him. The next day, I didn't dress because Emma told me to. I dressed because I wanted to. I slipped on the pink bralette, the matching panties. I chose the soft white skirt that brushed my thighs and paired it with the lavender top that made my skin glow. I took my time curling my hair, applying mascara, adding just a hint of blush to my cheeks. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't flinch. I smiled. "Morning, gorgeous," Emma said when I walked into the kitchen. I blushed, but didn't hide. "Morning. Ready for today?" I nodded, but I didn't know what she meant. We went out. In public. It was a quiet cafe in a nearby neighborhood, far from anyone who might recognize me. Still, my heart was racing as we walked in. Every step felt like I was walking through a minefield. I kept checking my reflection in the window, fixing my posture, tugging my skirt, adjusting my voice in my head. But no one stared. No one pointed or laughed. The barista smiled. "What can I get you, miss?" "Miss." I froze for a second. Then, just a vanilla latte, please." "Cute choice," she grinned. I turned to Emma, wide-eyed. She winked. "You're doing amazing." We sat outside under a striped umbrella, sipping our drinks. "You know," Emma said, twirling her straw, "you never answered me." "About what? Do you want to keep going?" I swallowed. I don't know what that means anymore. It means after this week. After the dare. After Jordan. Do you still want to be her? I looked down at my nails. The soft shimmer on each tip caught the sunlight. My legs were crossed instinctively. My voice had changed without me noticing. My thoughts, my feelings, even my smile felt different. "Yes," I whispered. "I think I do." We didn't go home right away. Emma took me shopping. Not because I needed more clothes, but because she wanted me to choose them. Dresses I would wear. Lipsticks I would like. Shoes that matched my stride. It was exhilarating. And terrifying. By the end, I had 2 bags full of things I picked out myself. No dares. No pretending.
Just me.
But when we got home, everything changed. Jordan was waiting on the porch. I stopped mid-step, hard in my throat. I need to talk to you, he said. Emma stepped forward protectively. She doesn't owe you anything. But I raised a hand. It's okay. We went inside. I sat across from him, legs tucked under me on the couch, hair clipped back. I didn't bother pretending to be the old me. So, Jordan said, watching me closely, "You're really doing this?" I nodded. I thought it was a joke, he continued.
A dare.
A prank. It was. But now it's not? No, I said softly. Now it's me. He was quiet for a long time. Then, you seem happy. I blinked. I've never seen you like this.
Calm.
Confident. Real. My heart pounded. You're not disgusted? He laughed once, short and sharp. Honestly, I think I'm just shocked. But no. You look kind of beautiful, actually. I looked away, cheeks burning. I'm not saying I understand all of it, he said. But I want to, if you'll let me. Emma raised an eyebrow from the hallway. I didn't answer. Not yet. Because even though I'd come so far, the final step still scared me. I didn't sleep much that night. Jordan's words kept echoing in my head. You seem happy. You look kind of beautiful. I stared at my reflection under the soft glow of the bathroom mirror. The girl looking back at me wasn't flawless, but she was real. Her smile was cautious, curious, and almost proud. For the first time, I didn't feel like a fraud. The next morning, I found Emma in the kitchen. She didn't say anything. She just slid a steaming mug of coffee toward me, then sat down with her own. I didn't tell you this before, she said gently, but I picked you for the dare for a reason. I blinked. You did. I saw you watching us. Every time we did makeup night or got dressed up for parties, you looked fascinated. Not in a creepy way. In a that should be me way. I felt my cheeks flush. I just thought, maybe if someone gave you permission, you'd figure it out for yourself.
I was quiet for a long time.
Thank you, I said finally, for everything. Later that day, Jordan texted me. Can we talk again? Just you and me this time. Emma saw the message and raised an eyebrow. You going to meet him? I nodded. Want me to come with you? I shook my head. I think I need to do this alone. She pulled me in for a hug. Then go knock him out, princess. I met Jordan at the park where we used to hang out in high school. He was sitting on a bench by the lake, hoodie pulled over his head. He looked up as I approached, and for a second, I saw the confusion flash across his face. Not because he didn't recognize me, but because he did. You look amazing, he said softly. I smiled shyly. Thanks. We sat in silence for a bit, watching the ducks skim across the water. Finally, he spoke. So what does this mean now? Are you, going to stay like this? I don't know what to call it yet, I admitted. But I like who I am right now. I feel real. He nodded slowly. Do you still like guys? That made me laugh. I never stopped liking guys. I just never got to be myself around them. Jordan's eyes lingered on mine. And, do you still like me? The question knocked the air out of me. I don't know, I said. Do you like me? He looked down, then back up. I think I always did. I just didn't realize it until now. We walked around the lake, side by side. And when we reached the spot where we used to sneak cigarettes and talk about the future, he reached for my hand. I let him. That evening, Emma was waiting for me on the couch. Well, she asked, eyes sparkling. Do I need to be worried? I flopped down beside her, grinning. Not unless you're jealous. Of you stealing Jordan's heart? She smirked.
Please.
I practically handed it to you on a silver platter. We both burst out laughing. Then, after the laughter faded, I looked at her seriously. Emma, thank you. For the dare.
For pushing me.
for helping me find her. Emma's expression softened. She was always in there. I just gave her the mirror. I lay in bed that night, heart light, mind buzzing. Tomorrow, the dare would officially end. But I knew I wasn't going back. I wasn't pretending anymore. This wasn't about a week of lingerie or dresses or makeup.
This was about me.
And I was finally ready to be her. Emma's heels clicked behind me as I stood at the mirror, staring at myself. A girl with soft, strawberry gloss on her lips and lashes long enough to fan her flushed cheeks blinked back at me. My reflection wasn't a stranger anymore. I reached up and adjusted the little gold chain around my neck, the one Emma had given me last night after dinner. It shimmered subtly in the light, engraved with one word: belong. You ready, baby? Emma asked softly from behind me. The girls are waiting downstairs. I nodded, but I didn't move. My hands trembled slightly over my hips, smoothing down the sheer pink blouse tucked into my pleated cream skirt. I didn't know if I'd ever stop feeling this mixture of fear and thrill, shame and pride. The voice in my head that used to scream, "You're a guy, what are you doing?" had grown quiet, replaced by something gentler. Something like peace. Emma stepped beside me, dressed in a simple blue dress with ballet flats and that easy confidence she always wore. She kissed my cheek, leaving a tiny, intentional mark of coral lipstick. "Perfect," she whispered. I let out a shaky breath and smiled. "Do they know? I mean, the others?" Emma nodded.
Some.
"And the rest will. It's your choice how much to tell. But they've all been through it in some way. You won't be alone." That word again, alone. It haunted every part of my old life. I had once curled into myself, terrified someone would see the parts one was hiding. And now here I was, legs shaved, toes painted, heart racing, not hiding anymore. Downstairs, the women greeted me with hugs and smiles, some with knowing looks, others with cheerful curiosity. A few of them, Delilah, Sasha, and Mimi, looked me up and down like they were already planning my next outfit. "Look at you," Delilah gasped. "She's glowing, Emma. You did say she was cute, but girl." I blushed. "You're too kind." "Not kind," Sasha said, grinning. "Just honest. You're a total doll." We sat in the sunroom where they'd set up tea, finger sandwiches, and little pink macarons. I was handed a floral cup, and as I sipped the warm liquid, I laughed, probably the only person in the world whose whole transformation started with herbal tea. And then Emma stood up, tapping her glass. "I just want to say one thing," she said, her gaze sweeping across the room. "You all know what we do here, this community, this home, this space. It's about healing, about discovering who we really are, underneath all the noise." She looked at me, and I've never been prouder of someone than I am of her. My heart thudded. I bit my lip. Every cell in my body buzzed with emotion. "I didn't believe this was possible," I whispered, standing slowly. I thought I was losing control, or that Emma was playing some strange joke on me. But it wasn't a joke. It was love. A push into the unknown when I was too scared to leap. I looked around the room. "And I think I was always her," I said quietly. "I just needed help becoming me." Applause broke out. Someone handed me a tissue. Emma pulled me into a hug that made me feel safe and seen and real. That night, as we lay in bed, Emma brushed my hair and kissed my temple. "You're mine," she said softly. "But more importantly, you're yours now." I held her hand tightly. "Promise me this won't end. That I'll never wake up and find out it was just some twisted plan." She smiled. "No plans. No tricks. Just truth." I fell asleep with my head on her chest and a soft smile on my lips, my legs tangled in soft satin sheets, knowing one thing for sure. I was never going back.